auto, home, and life insurance, you'll have more time to handle everything else. Even more money, too. Because adding State Farm policies can earn discounts that could add up to 40%. Call me, State Farm agent Matt McCormick, and get to a better state with State Farm. 348-0464.
Hey, sports parents and ballers of all ages, Rapid City has a new sports facility that you have to check out. E3 Sports Complex on East North Street is the newest indoor sports facility featuring 4 full courts. E3 Sports is here to serve the community and wants all athletes of any age to come and experience expert training, coaching, and the opportunity to unlock your athletic potential. Memberships and court rentals are available now. Come to play at E3 Sports Complex. Learn more at e3sports.org.
It's the geometry teacher who mans the ticket window.
It's the kid in grade school who paints her face blue and white before every home game.
It's the accountants and salesmen and store managers who give up their Friday evenings to referee.
It's the graduate who listens to the league championship game on the internet.
It's the parent who sells ads in the school athletic program.
It's the cashier at the corner convenience store who wears school colors on every game day.
It's the trainers, equipment managers, and ball boys who never miss a practice.
What makes high school sports here in South Dakota so special? They do.
You do.
We all do.
High school sports. It's the we that every community needs. This message presented by the South Dakota High School Activities Association and the South Dakota Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City.
Yesterday, he was going to play in Week 1. Chargers running back Najee Harris was a full participant in practice today and looks on track to play against the Chiefs Friday night in Brazil. Giants open the season Sunday against the Commanders. Russell Wilson is their first-team quarterback. Second on the depth chart is first-round pick Jackson Dart. Jameis Winston, the third-team QB in New York. Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel says wide receiver Stephon Diggs will play against the Raiders on Sunday. Bills have the Ravens on Sunday night. Today, Buffalo signed wide receiver Gabe Davis. Ohio State's the new number 1 team in the AP Top 25 college football poll. Penn State remains second. LSU is third. Georgia 4, Miami 5. Florida State debuted at 14 with Alabama dropping to 21. At the U.S. Open, Marketa Vondrousova withdrew from her quarterfinal match against Aryna Sabalenka because of injury. Carlos Alcaraz a winner in men's quarterfinals in straight sets. I'm Dan Beyer.
It's time for South Dakota's Sports Talk Show. This is the Nate Brown Show, featuring live callers, great interviews, and thought-provoking sports talk. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
All right, welcome in. Glad to be back. Here we are. Hope you had a nice weekend. Hope you had a long weekend and celebrated some Labor Day action yesterday. I was here yesterday. I just wasn't doing the show, I promise. I was here. Labor Day grind, but I hope you guys had a great long weekend. I had a great weekend of football, a little high school soccer mixed in. You know how this goes in South Dakota. So it is the Nate Brown Show. We're back and ready. It's always a great day in South Dakota. Welcome in across the state. South Dakota Sports Talk Show live on Fox Sports Radio and our affiliates. We appreciate you. Also, bring us up on Twitter right now, at Nate Brown Show. You can follow us. Yes, it's X, called Twitter, whatever you call it. We are at Nate Brown Show on X. Watch us live every afternoon. And then you can find our YouTube channel, The Nate Brown Show. Subscribe. You've got this show live. However you watch or listen, we appreciate you. Let's make it happen. Tuesday edition, a Reaction Tuesday on The Nate Brown Show. I said a ton of college football. I was in this, man. This was a great weekend of college football, and we're going to get into that, plus a little NFL tonight. You know that. Start the season Thursday. I'll be live, BetMGM Sportsbook in Deadwood. Join the show Thursday. Going to be a special edition up there. Tin Lizzie, BetMGM Sportsbook, downtown, Main Street, Deadwood. We'll be making our official NFL picks and the whole thing. A lot of work to do until then. Here we go. Let's look at the guest lineup and get going on the Nate Brown Show this Tuesday. We will talk to Brandon Stokely, 15-year wide receiver, two-time Super Bowl champ, former Ravens receiver, Colts, Broncos. Brandon Stokely's on tonight, previewing the NFL and the Broncos home opener coming up against the Titans. Brandon Stokely live from Denver tonight on South Dakota Sports Talk Show. We'll go to Jason Andero. We're going to do this every week. We've got Jandy every week right after the high school football weekend. We'll react to the games, preview some big ones coming up. So we've got Jason Andero tonight, high school football analyst, South Dakota Public Broadcasting, and into the national side, John Bryce, national college football writer. He was covering Notre Dame, Miami the other night. John Bryce is in footballscoop.com. His reaction to week 1 in college football. Bryce is on tonight. And finally, Mike McCulley, Rapid City Central head football coach. The Cobblers open up the season winning 23-7 over Sioux Falls Roosevelt, getting people's attention a little bit. We'll talk to the head coach. His first year, Rapid City Central's Mike McCulley is coming up. Busy show from high school to college to the pros. If you want in tonight, you got it. 605-720-1067. That's the Pizza Ranch studio hotline for you. 605-720-1067. Pizza Ranch studio hotline powered by the Pizza Ranch with the best buffet by far at East 10th Street, Sioux Falls. Drop by Brandon as well. Great location there. And 2 locations in Rapid City. Home of everyone's favorite buffet. It is your locally owned and operated Pizza Ranch tonight. And the Barron's Wilson text line open. If you can't call, you can text the show, be a part of the conversation there. 605-720-1067. Got some texts over the weekend, like all sorts of questions on the text line. we just opened those up on a Monday/Tuesday. It's a Tuesday that feels like a Monday. We open those up on the app, so you can text the show, 605-720-1067. That's the Barron's Wilson text line. All right, Hayes in the barn. Let's get going on a Tuesday. Okay, let me start with this. There's people that just blow things out of proportion. There's people that go hot take central. There's people that change the narrative from one week to the next. I mean, they say one thing and then they totally reverse it. I'm talking about all the hot takes in the media culture we're in today. And I really try not be a part of this. You have to have strong opinions. You know what I say. Strong opinions don't stink. I understand. You got to try and stick with what you can adjust sometimes. We got people adjusting things of how they talk about players and programs from one week to the next, and then it's just doomsday central. If somebody has a bad game, if some team struggles, it is doomsday central. I'm talking about the things that shocked me in the opening week of college football. I do have 5 things. I've got 5 things that, I don't know, surprised me. I should say that. Surprised me in the opening week of college football. And then I'm actually going to ask the question of the day tonight. Which one had the worst debut versus their expectations? And what do I mean by expectations in sports? It's the hot take sports media who says this guy should be the next number 1 pick in the NFL draft. And we go from that 2 weeks ago to, well, this kid may not be ready. This kid couldn't beat Ohio State. This kid doesn't look very good. We go from Arch Manning's the next NFL number 1 pick to, I don't know if this guy's going to be able to do very well this year. I mean, everybody just, and by the way, I was one of the only guys that I could tell. I was actually asking my college football guys, the guys that know more than me on this show, the guests that cover the game. I asked my college football guests, I said, do we know a ton about Arch Manning before we go into this Ohio State game? Like, do we know if he's really, really good? Because I'm hearing Colin Cowherd and some of these major guys say, number 1 pick, the Browns may just flop and they might connect the dots and try and get Arch Manning at Cleveland. And we've gone from number 1 pick to the Cleveland Browns, who are going to magically try and, have a terrible season to get the number 1 pick to get Arch Manning, to a bad debut. And now it's, don't overreact. Don't overreact to Arch Manning's struggles. Everybody's overreacting to Arch Manning's struggles because you guys overreacted of hyping him up as the next number one pick, the next Andrew Luck. Everybody thought he was just going to be unbelievable. That's the media's problem. It's the epitome of the media building a guy and hyping a guy, and the narrative's so crazy. I'm telling you, I did not know if Arch Manning's going to be good or not. We didn't get to see him play enough. He's been at Texas a few years now. We haven't got to see anything. So you throw him into Ohio State on Saturday. I don't know how that's going to go, and it didn't go very well, but I'm not the guy that's all of a sudden making him the number one pick in the NFL draft before he started a full season. So we change these things so quickly and so rapidly. Now, you can say you're surprised about certain things over the weekend. I was surprised there's all these expectations that are thrown out about this coach and this program and this player, all of these expectations, and you could say, wait, this didn't quite turn out the way I thought. I've got my top 5 most surprising developments of the college football weekend. That's how I'll start my show tonight. And it involves some guys that are close to this show. Some of my guys that are close to this show, this is tough tonight. But I'm going to ask you right away, who had the roughest week 1 debut versus the expectations that people had out there, okay? So follow that. Who had the roughest week 1 debut in college football versus their expectations and the narrative that was out there? I'm going to throw out 4 options for you. I left one of my guys off this list. We don't need to do that. Arch Manning's got to be on your list from the weekend. Expectations were the next number one pick. You've never seen anything like this from the Manning tree. I mean, this guy's unbelievable already. So Arch Manning's got to be up there. Not a good debut. And he might be fine. I just wasn't sure, so I wasn't going to go crazy. Yet everybody kept telling me Arch Manning's going to be the dude. Look out. So Arch Manning's got to be up there. A rough debut versus the expectations. Bill Belichick has to be up there from last night. Did you guys watch last night? I came in and worked, did some Bills, and then I was barbecuing a little bit, turned on the game, ready to go. I was intrigued. Last night. You better believe it. I was watching with Michael Jordan and the crew. Yeah, I was watching Belichick, and it was ugly. It was ugly versus TCU last night. So Belichick's got to be on your list tonight, right? Rough debut versus the expectations. How about this one for a little bit of fun tonight? Sacramento State. What happened to Sacramento State? I mean, they're top 15 FCS. They're going to be big boys in the FBS. The president of Sacramento State says we're going to be the real deal, and we could put up 50 points on some JV teams. 50 points on some JV teams. So Sacramento State should have been better, right? They've actually, invested in their football program. They're playing big boy football. Sacramento State scored 3 points on Saturday in Brookings. I mean, they got worked. I mean, the Jackrabbits just absolutely jacked them. And it could have been a lot worse. That could have been a lot worse, hate to tell you. So Sacramento State's got to be on your list. Pretty high expectations in the FCS world. That was rough. That was rough, bro. Last one, I know you've been waiting for it. Rough debut, expectations sky high. Our guy, Kalen DeBoer. Alabama loses at Florida State. So there's my list of 4. I told you I had my top 5 surprising developments. My top 5 include those 4, and I got one more to throw in. This is my guy. I'm a big fan of this guy, and I'm going to go down fighting for this guy because I believe in his leadership, his character, his hard work. I mean, he does everything right, and I love guys like that, and I think he's going to be able to bounce back. I do. I really hope so. Iowa QB Mark Gronowski. Gronowski has 44 yards in his debut against Albany. Albany, the FCS program that South Dakota State smacked a couple of years ago in the playoffs. South Dakota State beat Albany 59-0. You remember that, everybody? So the Hawkeyes handled them. I mean, it was fine, 34-7. Gronowski had a rough debut. I think it's nerves in there. I think all sorts of things happen. I think Gronowski is solid. Love his leadership, love his athleticism, his character, his hard work. I mean, he's going to put in work. And he's had some games where there's been bumps, so he's got a big one this week, Iowa State. We're going to preview that later this week on the program, but that's my fifth surprising development of week one is Mark Gronowski in the struggle against Albany threw for 44 yards. Iowa still ran all over him. I mean, they just ran all over him, which you would expect, but the Iowa Hawkeyes we got to have a QB that can air it out and do the whole thing. And Mark said he's ready to go. He's got to loosen up. We love Mark Gronowski on the program. That was a little surprising to see. But big stage, big expectations, really interesting how it plays out. You tell me, who had the roughest week one for your college football weekend? You tell me. 605-720-1067. 605-720-1067. The Nate Brown Show is on this Tuesday versus their expectations that they had. That's the thing, because I think there's one clear answer. If I phrase the question that way tonight, I really think there's one clear answer. So I've got mine. Roughest week one overall versus the expectations that you were thinking, well, this is going to be the team or the program or the guy. This is going to be it. Who's winning our votes so far? A lot of votes, 129 votes. 129 votes. Let's take a look. Roughest week one debut in college football versus the expectations. 47% voting for our South Dakota native, Kalen DeBoer. That's not the answer. I'm going to try and tell you what the answer is. It's not Kalen DeBoer. That might have been a disappointing start, but this is Alabama in the transfer portal era. I don't know how good Florida State's going to be. I mean, it's Florida State. They were just in the national championship discussion 2 years ago. Then they fell off the map last year. So they could turn this thing around tomorrow. So I wasn't overly shocked. Is Alabama the best of the best? Maybe they aren't. I don't know. We think they should be from the Saban days. There's this expectation that Kalen DeBoer he had all the Saban players. He's going to do everything like Saban, and that's the way it's going to be. Saban bailed because he didn't like how things were going. I hate to tell everybody. I want to remind everybody. Nick Saban bailed because he didn't like how things were going. What's that mean? Transfer portal, players in and out, paying the players. I mean, the whole thing was getting tough. And you can say, oh, he's getting older. That's fine. But we hold Kalen DeBoer to a different expectation. It's a Saban expectation. I don't think that's right. And what did we think? Alabama was going to go on the road at Florida State, first game of the year, and just kill Florida State? Not in the transfer portal era. You don't know which players are coming in and coming out. So that one, I wasn't oh, man, that was bad. It was Alabama, Florida State. Florida State could be a good program. You don't know. They could be a good team this year. We don't know. So they beat Alabama. Did it fall short for Alabama fans? Sure. But that's not the worst debut of week one. It's not Kalen DeBoer. 47% of my audience says it's Kalen DeBoer, roughest week one debut. Let's see here. By the way, what's the one answer? I've got it. I told you there's one answer to this question. It's not Kalen DeBoer. I explained that. Florida State on the road, first game of the year. Stuff happens. You've heard of that? So, you know what was rough? Super Bowl champion 6 times. College at home against a team that I don't think they're going to be anything special. I'm not totally sure, but I don't think TCU's a world beater out of the Big 12. I don't think they're going to be a world beater. The biggest disappointment, the roughest week one due to the expectations placed on him, Bill Belichick, and it's not even close. That was a blowout. Fans, just look at the reaction. Fans were leaving in the middle of the third quarter. I watched that whole game. My wife, as a matter of fact, last night was like, why are you still watching this? Because I just wanted to see how it was going. I wanted to see the reaction from Bill. He's got his son in there. I mean, it looks like a mess. They'll reel off some wins. They play Charlotte and teams like that. That was TCU you were hosting. Michael Jordan, Lawrence Taylor, all these guys are there. 6-time Super Bowl winning coach, college debut at home, and he gets toasted. I mean, absolutely destroyed. You're telling me Kalen DeBoer had a worse outing than Bill Belichick yesterday? No way. No way. I'm not buying it. It's Bill by far. Let's see. Listener text. Listener text. It's Belichick, hands down. I'm with you on that. I mean, it's not even close. I mean, that was ugly last night. You got to remember, Deion Sanders just played TCU a couple of years ago. Same type of deal. But he was at TCU. And Colorado actually won that game 2 years ago. This is North Carolina with the Big Bill in town getting blasted at home. That was bad. That was bad. Let's see. Listener text. Sad to say, but it's Kalen. No, it's not. It's not. 47% vote Kalen DeBoer roughest week 1 debut. 26% of you say Bill Belichick. 19% Arch Manning. 7% Sacramento State. Let's give the Hornets a little love tonight. Good stuff. It's Belichick by far. Let me ask college football writer John Bryce, footballscoop.com. A lot to cover from the weekend with John. Up next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one. So you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
Renewal by Andersen Windows and Patio Doors, the customers say it best, and they feel the difference every day.
Very happy with it. Very, very happy. I don't get tired of looking at them. And it's so nice with the breeze now, opening the windows, the ease of sliding the windows back and forth. Notice that it is warmer in the winter time, and it is cooler when the sun is shining in.
Renewal by Andersen Windows and Patio Doors, the customers say it best. Book your free estimate right now at RBARapidCity.com.
What do you call a place? It's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait, there's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps 1 minute and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside, you don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
It means being the first one in the door in the morning and turning off the lights when you leave at night. Your business is unique, and you need a bank that understands your needs. You deserve the best. You need a financial partner that is invested in your success. You need Pioneer Bank and Trust. Don't settle. Pioneer. Pioneer Bank and Trust. Local.
Pioneer Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Hey golfers, have you experienced Elkhorn Ridge Golf Club? Golf Digest ranked Elkhorn Ridge Golf Club the #1 public course in South Dakota. Off Exit 17 in Spearfish, Elkhorn Ridge offers a golfing experience second to none. Play their 18-hole championship layout with your buddies. Stop into Miller Creek Pub for some drinks, or bring the family out for lunch and try out the new putting green right below Miller Creek Pub. Elkhorn Ridge Golf Club has it all. Book your next tee time at elkhornridgeresort.com.
From high school to college to the pros, from Rapid City to Sioux Falls, the Nate Brown Show is South Dakota's sports talk.
Hey, welcome back in. South Dakota Sports Talk Show live on a Tuesday. Hope you've had a great long weekend. What a college football weekend, man. Good stuff. The Nate Brown Show is on Fox Sports Radio, South Dakota Sports Talk Show. If you miss any parts of the show live, go to the Nate Brown Show podcast. It's there on Apple, Spotify, Amazon. It's going to be a busy week. Tomorrow we'll talk to Dan Jackson, South Dakota State head football coach, live tomorrow night on the Nate Brown Show. Brandon Stokely coming up tonight, 2-time Super Bowl champ, 15-year NFL wide receiver. Stokely looking at NFL Week 1 straight ahead. Let's go college football reaction. John Bryce covered Notre Dame, Miami. I watched every second of that. It was a game. It was a game. Footballscoop.com for the coverage all season long from John. John, welcome in. How are you?
I'm good, Nate. Kudos on the bumper music there. A little Pearl Jam. I like it.
There we go. Bringing it strong today. Okay, since you covered that game, let's start with that, and then I'll get into some other stuff from the weekend. Notre Dame, Miami, what was your takeaway just overall? As I watched that game, hang on a second. Did I lose him? All right.
No, I'm here.
Okay, you got me? All right. I just want to make sure. You watched Miami athletically, I thought was really good. Defensively up front, I thought they were a lot better. What was Notre Dame's challenge Sunday?
Yeah, I sort of wrote this. I talked about this on the Scoop Pod today. I think that Miami out Notre Dame from what we saw Notre Dame do a year ago en route to to an appearance in the CFP championship game. Notre Dame was always the physical team, the aggressor. Notre Dame set a tone really all the way last August in College Station, Texas, with how physically it played and beat an SEC team on the road in an incredibly hostile environment. And I just thought Miami was that team on Sunday night. I thought Miami looked like an SEC team. Miami certainly was more aggressive and more physical and, frankly, more intimidating at the point of attack than was Notre Dame. And I thought Notre Dame didn't play horribly. Notre Dame played confusingly at times, but Miami didn't play completely mistake-free, but they also didn't turn the football over, and they were just the more physical team. And the final stats ended up pretty negligible. Miami with like 324 yards and Notre Dame with 314. But, you know, Mark Twain's a lot smarter than me, and he said lies, damn lies, and statistics. Those stats are damn lies from Sunday night, Nate.
I want to ask you, Notre Dame's margin of error now. It's not like people, you know, they had to win that, but their schedule's not easy. What's their margin of error here for the playoff?
It's incredibly narrow, Nate. Now, they're the only team in America that plays 10 power conference opponents plus another playoff team, plus another 10-win team from a year ago. So they've got 10 power conference opponents. They've got Boise State, and they've got Navy. Navy, of course, won 10 games last year. Boise State, of course, was the G5 playoff representative, which knows their own way now about having no margin for error. Notre Dame has zero margin for error if it wants to host a playoff game. Its chances to be a top 4 seed, I think, are gone, which would have meant a bye with the new system, and it can't lose more than one game, in my opinion, and be a playoff team. Even with those schedule metrics, and again, there's no team in America playing 10 power conference games plus a playoff opponent plus another 10-win team, but also within those power conference opponents, you've got Stanford, which is a power conference opponent in name only. Like you know me, I love FCS football. I would rather watch Montana State and South Dakota State this weekend than any Stanford game, and I think either one of those teams could probably beat Stanford.
All right. John Bryce covered Miami, Notre Dame. That was a big one Sunday. Let me ask you about this scenario. I want to get into the roughest week one debuts, the roughest debuts here. And I look at it and say, you had Kalen DeBoer at Alabama. People are really hitting him hard. He's a South Dakota guy. People even here in South Dakota say, man, that was rough for Kalen. I don't know how good Florida State is. This is the transfer portal era, John. They could go from bad last year to unbelievably good in a program like that. What's the real story with Florida State and Alabama?
I just don't think that Alabama has the same attention to detail that it had under Nick Saban, and you can say that translates into maybe a little too much finesse play. You can say that translates into some penalties, or certainly there's plenty of Twitter experts out there breaking down and sharing clips showing some loafs. Or as I like to call it, turning down tackles. You did see some Alabama players turn down tackles. You never saw that under Nick Saban, but there's only one Nick Saban. So I don't think that the Alabama opening, while not ideal, and I thought that Alabama would roll Florida State, while that's not ideal, I don't think it's anywhere near the disaster that we saw last night that Bill Belichick in North Carolina proved to be, and I don't think that's the last time we visit this season and talk about the North Carolina train wreck.
Okay, that's where I wanted to go. I watched that last night. My answer to my own question was the roughest week one debut versus the expectations was Bill Belichick last night. It looked bad after the opening drive TD for North Carolina. I mean, really bad. Do we know how good this roster is? Is Bill disconnected? I mean, I don't know what's going to happen there. What do you see?
Yeah, I think for your point about how much better is Florida State this year because of the transfer portal, I think that's fair. I also think that overall their schedule is not just crushing, especially since they got Alabama out of the way and got a win. I talked to a college offensive coordinator who's called plays in the ACC for multiple teams, who's worked in big-time college football all over the country yesterday. He thinks Florida State can be a 9-10 win team. If they're a 10-win team, there's a great chance they're a playoff team. We made the point on the Football Scoop podcast today, like, hey, North Carolina went into the transfer portal and got like 70 dudes, but what dudes did they get out of the transfer portal? And none of us sat there and said, oh, man, this North Carolina roster is unbelievable because they went to the transfer portal. We just said, hey, they went to the transfer portal and had one of the single largest, I think the second largest roster flip in the history of college football behind Deion a couple of years ago with 84 newcomers at Colorado. I think number two is this North Carolina team. But you had a bunch of group of five guys that played power conference football last night that looked like a bunch of group of five guys. And then this same coach, and more than one coach made this point to me, you also had a guy like Steve Belichick, who's the defensive coordinator, not because nepotism, of course, Nate, that would never happen, but he's the defensive coordinator who's been only in the NFL to speak of and has never seen tempo like TCU can deploy. And by the way, that's not the last time they'll see tempo. And so I think we talk about players needing to improve from week one to week two. I'm very curious to see how much this Bill Belichick and North Carolina coaching staff can improve from week one to week two. And I've said the same thing about Chris Ash at Notre Dame, the defensive coordinator. I like Chris a lot. I've been around him a bunch. I think he's incredibly sharp, but he did have more of a keep everything in front of you approach Sunday night for the Irish, whereas Notre Dame got accustomed, again, to being super aggressive and to setting a tone with that aggressiveness, especially on defense, under Al Golden.
John Bryce on a couple more for the national writer, footballscoop.com, here on the Nate Brown Show. Find him on X if you're not following him, John D. Bryce 1, and he's here on South Dakota Sports Talk Show. So Arch Manning, remember I asked you, John, I don't know, a few weeks ago, a month ago, do we really know how good he is? And you aren't the only guy I've asked. I'm just like, I don't know if we do, but not too many people were saying that. I'm hearing national shows saying the Browns are going to try and get Arch Manning this year. They want him as the number one pick. How did we? I mean, I don't know if we missed like the hype train so much, but it seemed like the expectations were sky high, and I don't know if that's right.
I don't know who we blame there. I'm not big on pointing fingers all around or certainly blaming the media, because we all have good takes, we all have bad takes. You never have any bad takes, but I have a lot of bad takes. And but I thought, a guy like Paul Feinbaum, who's rooted in SEC country and knows the Manning family well, there have been so many disservices. Nobody said pump the brakes. We did. We said pump the brakes on your show. We said we don't know, which is, to me, the same thing as saying pump the brakes. Nobody, for the most part, was saying pump the brakes, and it's just insane. It's insane pressure to be a first-time starting quarterback at Texas when that program opens as number one in preseason for the first time in the history of that program. They played football for 100 years. And then on top of that, your last name's Manning. It's pretty similar to C.J. Carr opening at Notre Dame, and he is the grandson of a guy that won a national championship at Michigan, their last national championship, until Jim Harbaugh and Connor Stallions conspired to get them one a couple of years ago. So I think all of those things should be factors. I think the media should do a better job of holding itself accountable more so than trying to hold Arch Manning accountable.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, there's some wild takes out there on Arch Manning, and then he didn't have the best game, but in a hostile environment. So last one, is LSU the real deal?
If LSU, what's the saying, Nate? Defense travels? That defense traveled. That defense clowned Clemson, and Clemson's got NFL wide receivers, NFL offensive linemen, and a quarterback that is considered a first-round 2026 NFL draft pick. And Garrett Nussmeier will get better. They've got receivers again, like LSU is accustomed to having. Their offensive line played better than I think many of us expected after they lost 3, if not 4, starters off last year's team, including a top 10 draft pick. So LSU should have a pretty easy game this week against La Tech. They open SEC play a week later at home against Florida. If they're 3-0 after that, then I really like LSU to be a playoff contender all season long.
I don't want to, I said last one, but I want one more with the Huskers that open the season. They win a close one against Cincinnati down in Kansas City, 20-17. People are saying, this is the same old Huskers. They almost gave it up, and this is Cincinnati. Does it matter how the Huskers won Thursday?
I think it does, Nate. I think it does, because we debated Nebraska 10 days ago. I'm sorry to keep plugging the Football Scoop podcast, but we debated it 10 days ago when we were forecasting our expected overachievers and underachievers. And my boss, the publisher and president of Football Scoop, Scott Roussel, went with Nebraska as an expected underachiever for him. And I was pretty bullish on the Huskers and really thought that they would run roughshod over Cincinnati. And I am concerned that it was that close. Now, year 3 is always a big year for Matt Rule. There's, again, we know the adage about improvement. So what do we see from Nebraska, especially since it got to play Thursday night? Gets a little bit of extra time before its next game to show that improvement. But I think if Nebraska doesn't start bare minimum 6-2, you've got real worry about the Cornhuskers.
John Bryce in tonight on a Week 1 reaction, national writer for FootballScoop.com. John, good man. I appreciate you. Thanks a lot.
Always, Nate. Thanks, buddy. Go Braves.
Appreciate you. John Bryce, after a Week 1 weekend, man, that was the real story. That was good stuff all weekend long. Notre Dame, Miami standalone Sunday, Clemson, LSU Saturday night, the Bill Belichick mess last night. Hey, wait. So now I got a new team to root against? I mean, I loved rooting against Bill in the NFL. I loved it. And ever since the Patriots went downhill, I mean, you kind of was like, oh, it's not the same. Now, Bill's back in college, North Carolina, coming back. He's going to revive a dormant program. Well, I think they went to sleep last night. They went to sleep. Who had the worst Week 1 debut in college football versus the expectations? That's the Nate Brown Show question of the day for you. 605-720-1067. Your takes all welcome on the text line, 605-720-1067. Who had the worst Week 1 debut versus their expectations? My only answer is Bill Belichick. I know people are throwing in Kalen DeBoer. That's fine. He's in my top 5. Arch Manning's in my top 5. Sacramento State, even with a nice FCS flop, just got beat down by the Jacks Saturday night. And then I throw my guy Mark Gronowski had a rough outing with Iowa. A little bit of pressure there, tough scenario to open up, a little bit too much juice there. So that's all I want to know is who had the roughest Week 1 debut. Listener text coming in. It's Bill Belichick in North Carolina. Listener text, Coach Belichick and Coach DeBoer. Listener text, has anyone checked on Matt Kearney with his Boise State Broncos? Yeah, I saw Matt late last week. He was okay, but I think it's going to be a tough season for Matt Kearney and Boise State. The USF, South Florida, that was rough. That was rough. Matt Kearney with the stat of the day, something like Boise State hasn't not scored a touchdown in the third, fourth quarter in like forever, 20 years or something like that. Wild. Boise State 0-1. I want to come back with Jason Andera, high school football segment we're going to do every week. Let's get a rundown of 605 high school football in the 605 next.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
How do you make a buffet day even better? Make it a play day. The Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade is your place for good food and good times. Won the big game? Make it a play day. Aced your test? Make it a play day. Just need to get out of the house? Make it a play day. The Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade has all your favorites and all kinds of fun. So bring your family, bring your friends, bring your team. For good food and good times, make it a buffet day and a play day at the Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade.
Mom, can we please go to Waitiki Indoor Water Park Resort?
Waitiki? What's so special about it?
Are you kidding? It's got slides, fountains, a lazy river, everything. And it's just a short drive to Rapid City. If we stay at one of the hotels, we get water park passes for free.
Wow, you really did your homework. Okay, what do you say we pack our swimsuits and hit Waitiki this weekend?
Yes, best mom ever.
Unlock your adventure at WaitikiWaterpark.com.
Whether you're a pro or a Joe, a weekend warrior or a gardening great, Monument Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine is here when you need us. Nobody plans an injury, but when people throughout the Black Hills and beyond suffer a setback, Monument Health Orthopedics is here to provide comprehensive medical care. Our team of board-certified orthopedic surgeons and specialists is dedicated to helping patients regain the quality of life they've lost due to an injury, arthritis, or joint wear and tear. Monument Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine for everyday athletes like you.
At Highmark Credit Union, we believe banking should feel personal. That's why when you walk into our lobbies, you'll be greeted by real tellers and friendly staff, ready to help with your questions, big or small. And yes, we've got the latest technology too, for when you want quick and convenient service. The best part? You get to choose. Highmark Credit Union. Personal service backed by modern technology. We'll make it happen. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Get away from it all in the great outdoors for lasting family memories with a new or pre-owned RV from Dakota Discount RV. We make your RV experience fun and easy by providing you with a quality recreational vehicle, competitive pricing, and professional sales and service. Our large inventory of fifth-wheelers, travel trailers, toy haulers, and live-in horse trailers allows us to save our customers thousands of dollars compared to most dealers. Stop by and see us at Dakota Discount RV, 3330 East Mall Drive across from Cabela's and on JB Road, Blackhawk.
Hi, I'm Tim Wrench, and I'm seeking personal injury cases. If you've been injured because someone else did something wrong, call me up. I'm a trial lawyer. I've tried criminal and civil cases for decades, and I can use all of that experience to help you. I also know this, that when insurance companies know that you're represented by a trial lawyer, they take your claim more seriously, and if it is to be settled, it's settled better with a trial lawyer. Wrench Law, 605-341-1111, wrenchlaw.com.
Looking for a great place for a pregame meal that really satisfies? Or maybe you want a place to take your all-star after the game. Or you're looking for a place to enjoy a delicious meal while watching your favorite team on the big screen TV. Valley Sports Bar and Grill has all the bases covered for all those things and more. Top-notch, friendly, and attentive service. Wall-to-wall big screen TVs with all the big games. And the absolute best wings in Rapid City. Valley Sports Bar. Make it your place. 1865 Valley Drive, Rapid City.
This is The Nate Brown Show, also streaming live on YouTube. Subscribe to The Nate Brown Show on YouTube.
We are back on a Tuesday South Dakota Sports Talk Show. You found us, Fox Sports Radio across the state. The Nate Brown Show live. Thanks for being here every afternoon drive. We appreciate it. If you want to watch the show live, you can do that in a few spots. Midwest Sports Plus, our new partner, streaming on great high school sports app, streaming some great games this past weekend in high school football. Midwest Sports Plus, The Nate Brown Show is there. Find us. Also on X right now. You can bring us up if you're on X. Follow the show at Nate Brown Show, and then watch us live every afternoon on X at Nate Brown Show. Every week we're going to do this with Jason Andera. We're going to have to start calling this something. The 605 hitter. I don't know. We'll do something. It's Jason Andera, covers high school sports with the best of them. SDPB Sports. His shows will be coming out tomorrow called Game Time on SDPB. Great breakdown. I always watch that. And he's here on the Nate Brown Show tonight talking high school football as we just get into things. Some teams playing their first games this past weekend. Jandy, good to have you. How are you?
It is great to be here. Yes, 2 weeks into the season for some teams. We are starting to learn, as we do every season, which teams are contenders. And there are a few contenders I wasn't aware of that certainly are playing the part early on.
Okay, I want to get into some of this and see if I can hit this now. Let me get into AAA first. Were you surprised that O'Gorman slips by Harrisburg? What do you think?
Yeah, you watch the game, and it really did look like Harrisburg outplayed them for the most part, but O'Gorman hung tough. They made a big play on a missed field goal. They kind of forced a missed field goal, and then turned it around, and they've got command at quarterback like they haven't had in a couple of years in Chase Hermanson, and he really did a good job leading his team down the field and getting the big go-ahead touchdown. And then defensively, they were able to make a big pick. So they made big plays. They weren't scared of the big moment, and that's what you get when you have 26 seniors on a team like that in O'Gorman. They haven't had that many seniors since Jason Poppinga took over a decade ago at O'Gorman. So again, not the on-field experience they've had, not the tons of starters back or things like that, but they've got seniors that feel like they can play their best ball and be at their best. So a good win for O'Gorman, but I feel like they maybe stole one from Harrisburg.
Okay, how about Rapid City Central getting everybody's attention? They beat Sioux Falls Roosevelt. Now, Roosevelt's been down. I understand that. But the Cobblers have been really down for a long time. They've had close games with Roosevelt over the past few years. I don't know why, but Central's played Roosevelt tough before. They beat them 23-7. Cobblers, I've been told this, Jason. Here's one for you. This is the most talent the Cobblers have had in a long time. Okay, I was told that by a guy really close with the program. What do you think of Central with a convincing win?
Well, I think he knows what he's talking about. I think this is a talented Rapid City Central team. I really like the power that they were able to show up front. Braden Jackson did a really good job of finding some holes. They've got talent on this team on both sides, but really where you need that talent is up front, and that's where they've been lacking. They've had good offensive linemen over the past decade or so, but you kind of go by your weakest link, and they don't have a weak link anymore on their front seven on defense and their front five on offense. So now we're talking, okay, now we can play with these teams without, getting crushed or getting, worn down by some of these bigger, stronger teams. Now we'll see how they react when they play some of these top five teams and maybe are in a game for a while and see how they react and if they can take that next step up to be a true contender. I like them right now, but I like them right about where they belong, just below that top 5, where you see some of the teams that have a little bit more depth, maybe, and a little bit more tradition going for them. But Rapid City Central is only a half step back.
Okay, so you didn't put Rapid City Central in your top 5 yet.
Not yet.
But they're on the bubble. Okay, a big win over Roosevelt. Lincoln just takes care of Stevens 62-14. They put up 50.5. Lincoln's really, really good. Stevens is trying to go the right direction. They're outmatched up front is what I was seeing.
Yeah, that was a tough way to start the season against a team that has so many starters back. Lincoln completed 7 passes in the first half, all for touchdowns. I don't know if I've seen a stat quite like that in a long time in high school football. And it just shows, especially offensively, how much better Lincoln was than Stevens. But, that's a team that'll grow as the year goes on, and they'll get their feet under them. But it's going to be a tough road because 11 AAA is so stacked.
Yeah. Stevens starts the year with Lincoln and Brandon Valley. And Stevens is in rebuild mode on top of that. A tough way to start. Jason Andera's on tonight. Follow him at 605 Jandy on X. Find his work at SDPB Sports, talking high school football on the Nate Brown Show. Let's go to 11AA. What you think of T-Area beating Spearfish 22-14? Are those two teams both in the mix?
I think they are. I know I've said before on this show that I really thought T-Area was maybe the best team in the state. I gave them number 1 vote. They came out. They looked really good with Mitch Grant at quarterback. I thought maybe they would go with Brenner Conrad at quarterback, but they were using Brenner Conrad as kind of a power back. So now you've got a young quarterback in Mitch Grant who looks like a Big Ten quarterback. He's big, strong, accurate. Ran the first play of the game in for a rushing touchdown, but Spearfish didn't flinch. You gotta love the fight that the Spartans showed. They came back in that second half, and I think they play again, and it could go the other way around. Just like last year when they played, Spearfish pulled it out with some big plays in that game, and T tried to come back. Couldn't quite make the comeback. Well, this time Spearfish couldn't quite make the comeback. But my assessment of 11AA is we're going to have a heck of a year. There are no games in 11AA this week where two teams undefeated play each other, and we're in the second week of the season. It's going to be crazy week in, week out. Even Pierre had trouble. I mean, I know the field conditions were terrible against Aberdeen, but they, didn't have an easy time. Yankton didn't have an easy time with Huron. And then Sturgis gets a big win against Brookings, who was high in the polls last week. So it's going to be a crazy year. Get ready to get loaded for an awesome menu of 11AA games the rest of the season.
Yeah, that's interesting. 11AA, a class that's been dominated by Pierre over the years, now was pretty good last year and looks to be a pretty good class this year. Spearfish plays Rapid City Central this week. Keep an eye on that. Spearfish, Rapid City Central crossover with AAA and AA. By the way, you've got 11B. I got to give you credit. You said Winter may not be up to the Winter teams of old. They lose to Wagner. So Winter gets a loss. STM gets another win. St. Thomas More, did you vote him number 1 yet?
No, I still put Elk Point Jefferson there, but, Elk Point Jefferson didn't play last week. I feel like they are right there in the same breath right now between St. Thomas More and Elk Point Jefferson. So, time will tell. Really, to me, those are your elite teams in 11B. I think Wagner and even Sioux Valley could be teams that are knocking right on the door, really close. And then there's some surprise teams in 11B. I think that could make a push towards the end of the year. I mean, Mobridge Pollock, people don't realize how much young talent they have on that squad that has been playing for a couple of years. Now they're juniors and seniors. They had a nice win against Croton. So 11B has some good teams, but St. Thomas More and Elk Point Jefferson, to me, are the cream of the crop right now.
Jason Andera on tonight, 605 Jandy on X. Follow him there. Watch his show Game Time is on SDPB Sports, and he'll be here on the Nate Brown Show each week. Jason, always appreciate you. Thanks a lot.
Anytime.
Appreciate it. Jason Andera on tonight. Follow him at 605 Jandy and find him at SDPB Sports, covering high school football now for South Dakota Public Broadcasting. His show is called Game Time. Hey, let's take a look at the South Dakota Power 5 poll. Power 5 poll out today. Let's take a look at some of the top teams. Not a lot of changes. 11 AAA, Sioux Falls Lincoln 1, Brandon Valley 2. O'Gorman moves up to 3 after the win over Harrisburg. Harrisburg's number 4, Sioux Falls Jefferson number 5. So the Cobblers of Rapid City Central get a win. They're just receiving votes on the outside of the top 5. 11 AA still has Pierre number 1. They just barely get by Aberdeen Central. That was like a rain game. That game didn't get over till past midnight out there. I was in Pierre at soccer on Friday night, and they were still trying to play football past midnight, but Pierre did beat Aberdeen Central in a tight one. They'll hang on to the number 1 spot in 11 AA. Sturgis moves up to number 4 after the win over Brookings. South Dakota Power 5 poll out each week. Sioux Falls Christian still number 1 in Class 11A. They look like they got a firm hold on that. 20 number 1 votes. 11B, new number 1 team. This is a big one of the Power 5 poll today. St. Thomas More gets 11 first-place votes. They get the number 1 spot in our South Dakota Power 5 poll in Class 11B. St. Thomas More 1, Elk Point Jefferson 2. Wagner slips in there at number 3. Winner 4, Sioux Valley 5th. Coming right back on the Nate Brown Show, I've got some reaction to the Kalen DeBoer story. So people are going crazy about Kalen DeBoer at Alabama. I think we got to find out, let's see where this goes with Kalen. I want to tell you what I think next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number 1. So you can always be their number 1. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number 1 hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
Renewal by Anderson Windows and Patio Doors, the customers say it best, and they feel the difference every day.
Very happy with it. Very, very happy. I don't get tired of looking at them. And it's so nice with the breeze now, opening the windows, the ease of sliding the windows back and forth. Notice that it is warmer in the winter time, and it is cooler when the sun is shining in.
Renewal by Anderson Windows and Patio Doors, the customers say it best. Book your free estimate right now at RBARapidCity.com.
What do you call a place? It's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait? There's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps one minute and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside, you don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
installation specialist since 1974. They use only the highest quality materials and never compromise on their workmanship. Collins Siding is licensed, bonded, and their estimates always include labor, materials, and applicable permits and taxes. Collins Siding has been providing top quality service and exceeding high standards for over 45 years, and you can find out how by visiting them at 2016 Cherry Avenue. Collins Siding, 2016 Cherry Avenue, Rapid City.
If you're in the market for a vehicle right now, you probably have noticed it's sometimes hard to find the right one. That's where Summit Automotive Group steps in. Stacy and Matt and their staff working hard to get a great selection of pre-owned vehicles at affordable prices. At Summit Automotive, they have a different outlook on selling you a vehicle. You'll experience stress-free shopping, friendly, honest service with no high-pressure sales gimmicks. Before you buy, drop by East Highway 44, SummitAutoGRP.com.
Live callers, big-time interviews, and breaking sports news. This is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown.
All right, welcome back in South Dakota Sports Talk Show live, Fox Sports Radio. Glad you're here on a Reaction Tuesday. What a weekend of college football from the FCS to the FBS. A lot of great guests coming up as well. Next hour, hang on, Brandon Stokely is going to join us live, two-time Super Bowl champ, 15 years in the NFL for the Broncos, Colts, Ravens. Brandon Stokely live tonight previewing Week 1 of the NFL. Straight ahead from Denver Sports. Stokely's on tonight. We'll go to the Rapid City Central program. They get a win. Cobblers, can they get in the mix in AAA, at least competitive in ball games? It's been a long time. They're building there, and their first-year head coach is Mike McCulley, takes over for Brandon Colpitz. I think that was a big deal for them the other night, beating Sioux Falls Roosevelt 23-7. We'll talk to the head coach for Central, Mike McCulley, coming up. The Nate Brown Show is on. If you want in, 605-720-1067. That is the Barron's Wilson text line for you, 605-720-1067. I got a listener text here. Hey, could you ask John Bryce if Kalen DeBoer needs to be worried about being fired? I got that listener text. Well, I didn't ask John Bryce that question exactly, but you asked me that question. I'm going to flip that around. Hey, Nate, you think DeBoer needs to be worried about getting fired? Not right now. I mean, not right now at all. People are just, I don't know if our culture or what it is, a hot take, all these debate shows. I don't know what it is. But we got one loss here, and people are losing their minds. We got one loss, and people are losing their mind. And we act like Kalen DeBoer just took over a national championship team. No. They were national champions for some years with Saban. They were. Do you remember what they were when Saban exited? They were in the playoff, but they didn't win it. I mean, you got to remember, we don't know all the details that go into where this program was when Saban left. They are very, very good. The brand is unbelievable. Nick Saban's one of the all-time greats. So now we hold Kalen DeBoer to the standard, thinking that Alabama just won a national championship, reeled off 5 in a row. No, they were losing. They weren't even making the championship anymore. They were losing to Michigan. They were losing to Georgia. We can't forget that stuff. We forget stuff now in today's world. Something happens a week ago. I was like, what? Something in the news. What was that? Yeah, big stuff. And then we forget stuff in sports. That we thought Alabama had just won a national championship and Kalen DeBoer should be taking them to another one. He's got some time here, especially in the college football playoff scenario now, that he can win games. They can get right back in the mix. So I'm going to say, should he be worried about getting fired? Not right now at all. Not right now at all. I can't believe everybody. There's people in Alabama it might just be the wrong guy. Yeah, somehow, some way, he got Washington in the national championship game. Just lucky, I guess. So let's be careful thinking that Alabama was some behemoth. I mean, it's a strong program, but it was on the downslide. Could you say that? I just told you they were on the downslide because they hadn't just won. So his expectations through the roof because he takes over for Saban, and then we take one loss in a world where you can actually lose and still come back now. It's a 12-team playoff field. So let's not overreact today. Now, if he has a rough year, what's a rough year? Like 4 losses? Now we got some problems. Because the folks in Alabama are used to, hey, we have to at least be in like the semifinals every year. That we have to be there. They were used to winning every year. Then it was, well, now we're still okay, but they were starting to decline. But the expectations now of the fans is off the charts because of Saban, right? So, listener text here, if DeBoer is fired without cause, he would earn 90% of his remaining deal. Yeah. So the deal is the buyout they're saying would be $70 million. $70 million. So, listener text, $63 million. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's somewhere in there. But you throw in assistant coaches, you throw in some of the stuff you got to pay for now. We're talking almost $70 million. So, no, they're not going to. Kalen DeBoer is not going to get fired. He will be coaching the entire season, and my expectation is he is a great coach. Oh, he's the wrong guy. People are saying today, yeah, I can't believe he's just the wrong guy. What are you talking about? Let's see. Listener text. There are a number of reasons that Kalen DeBoer should still be the coach, one of which is the $70 million buyout. Yeah, I know. That's the thing. So, no, I'm not going to overreact to DeBoer. The loss here was not great. There's other stuff that people are throwing around that you can't verify. About they're talking about the team and the discipline and the structure and what they're up to and how focused they are and the whole thing. That stuff I don't know. That's internet fodder. That's Alabama message boards. That's that stuff. I don't know on that. I mean, you got wild stuff out there. You believe everything you see? So you got to be careful with all this. I mean, people just go crazy. Point is, we go crazy on 1 week, and that's not going to define Kalen DeBoer's coaching this season, I don't think. We shall see. But no, he's not going to get fired and should not even be throwing that out there after 1 game. Should not even be even thinking about that after 1 game. Nobody's saying that about Bill Belichick. Why isn't anybody saying that about Bill? I mean, there was high expectations. You're playing TCU in North Carolina. Big boy here. And he just gets blasted, and we're more worried about Kalen DeBoer than Bill Belichick. Come on now. Okay, let me get into a high school football segment. I think I need to expand on this. What does it mean when a program that hasn't won at all, has now won? What does that really mean? Can you actually build a program that has lost for over 25 years? Can you build it into a winner? My thoughts in high school football week 1 coming up.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
Hey, Sioux Falls sports fans, there's a great new sports bar in Sioux Falls, Boston's Restaurant and Sports Bar on West Russell Street in the Ramada Water Park Hotel. If you want to watch games, UFC, they've got it, wall-to-wall TVs, and the best part, great food. Gourmet pizza at Boston's, tons of wing options, great burgers, and a lot more. Bring the family, bring the team, bring your crew to the new Boston's Restaurant and Sports Bar in Sioux Falls on West Russell Street. Plus, you can order online for lunch or dinner. Just go to bostons.com.
We've got big rewards in store for Fleet Farm shoppers at our Buy More, Earn More event. August 28th through September 3rd, Fleet Rewards members will enjoy extra rewards on all qualifying purchases. Earn $10 when you spend $100, earn $25 when you spend $250, and earn $50 in rewards when you spend $350 at Fleet Farm. Membership's free. Sign up in-store or online. Then stock up to get extra rewards while you can at Fleet Farm's Buy More, Earn More event. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Football season is almost here, and we're throwing a huge kickoff party in the BetMGM Sportsbook at Tin Lizzy Gaming Resort. Thursday, September 4th is the official start to pro football action, and we'll have games, prizes, great food, cold drinks, and even the Nate Brown Show on Fox Sports Rapid City. Enjoy the BetMGM Sportsbook with wall-to-wall televisions, comfortable and spacious seating, and personal live audio streamed right to your phone. Kick off your season right with the BetMGM Sportsbook at Tin Lizzy Gaming Resort, where it's always game on.
It's time to hit the court at the Wautiki Fall Hoop Fest, November 7th through the 9th at the Box Elder Event Center. 3 days of non-stop basketball action as teams battle it out for bragging rights and glory. Divisions for boys and girls, grades 5th through 10th. Bring your game, bring your team, and bring the energy. And when the game's over, celebrate with special Courtyard by Marriott room rates that include Wautiki Water Park passes for even more fun. Don't sit on the sidelines. Register your team today at thebox.live.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City.
Hi, this is Jeremy with Jerry's Cakes and Donuts, inviting you to kickstart your morning by dropping by and grabbing some fresh donuts. I want to thank you for voting us the best in the Black Hills. We're up early making your favorite donuts, so stop by and bring some to the office. Everybody loves Jerry's Cakes and Donuts, and we love you, so stop by, get a great selection to brighten up your day. Serving Rapid City for over 40 years, Jerry's Cakes and Donuts at 109 East Omaha, and remember to like Jerry's on Facebook for some great giveaways.
That's my husband, Mr. Fix-It.
I got it! I ain't got it.
I told him we needed replacement windows for our house.
I am man!
I told him rather than go to a do-it-yourself store, we should contact Renewal by Andersen because they only do windows. They're experts, no subcontractors.
Hey, honey, did you know our electricity runs through all these little metal pipes? And yow!
You okay?
Yeah.
Renewal by Andersen, hassle-free, energy-efficient, low-maintenance windows with a professional, perfect fit.
The hole needs to be just a little larger.
Keeping your home warm in the winter, cool in the summer with their Fibrex windows.
I had no idea we had this much insulation in our walls. Honey?
Yeah?
I think it's time we call Renewal by Andersen.
Good call, Mr. Fix-It.
For a perfect fit, call 605-341-7831. Renewal by Andersen of South Dakota. 605-341-7831.
One more time. This is the Nate Brown Show. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
All right, glad to have you back on a Tuesday. The Nate Brown Show is on. Second hour, ready to go. Fox Sports Radio, South Dakota Sports Talk Show, driven this hour by Summit Automotive Group. When it comes to pre-owned in South Dakota, start at summitautogrp.com. Look on your phone right now. Selection is great. Really, it's the car buying experience built around you. That makes it the Summit difference. Experience it for yourself. Start at summitautogrp.com. When it comes to pre-owned in South Dakota, the Nate Brown Show ready to roll tonight. Brandon Stokely is going to join us next, live from Denver. Love Stokely, man. He does a great job on the morning show, 104.3 The Fan in Denver. 15-year wide receiver, two-time Super Bowl champ. We'll preview Week 1, the Broncos, and more. Stokely's coming up. Mike McCulley is on the way as well. Rapid City Central head football coach in his first year with their first win. Sioux Falls Roosevelt. The Cobblers take them down 23-7. Got people's attention over the weekend. We'll get into that straight ahead. Question of the day, if you haven't answered it, who had the roughest Week 1 debut in college football versus their expectations? I gave you my top 5 in the opening part of the show tonight. Roughest Week 1 debut versus the expectations that everybody put on him, from the media to the fans. Arch Manning, Bill Belichick, Kalen DeBoer, Sacramento State. I had to throw Sacramento State in there. Everybody was telling me they were going to be the real deal at Sac State. I've watched Sacramento State for a long time growing up in Montana. They're in the Big Sky Conference. I've been told Sac State's going to do something sometime, somewhere, and it never quite happens. But and then they got blasted by the Jacks on Saturday night. Who had the roughest Week 1 debut versus their expectations? Arch Manning, Bill Belichick, Kalen DeBoer, Sacramento State. Question of the day. Hit us up on the text line. 605-720-1067 is our line into the program. People voting on that. Let's take a look at the updated poll. Who had the roughest Week 1 debut? Listener reaction. Bill has lost all of his aura. What is this? What am I missing with the aura thing? My daughter talks about aura all the time. What am I missing with the aura? We'll get back to that. Bill Belichick has lost all his aura, says my listener. He's just a whipped, weird old dude now. But that's been a gradual process. I had high hopes for Kalen, but yikes. So which vote is it then? I'm not sure. That's what he tells me. Listener reaction. Maybe you should throw USD on your poll. There were actually USD fans and local and regional media members who thought USD would give Iowa State a good game. No, I'm not. I mean, I wouldn't put USD on that. I thought that was going to be a really tough test. I mean, a really tough test. You watch Iowa State beat Kansas State, you automatically think, well, Iowa State's a pretty good program here. You know that with Matt Campbell. So I didn't expect USD to do that upset at all. My vote from the Nate Brown Show is totally Bill Belichick. I mean, last night was a train wreck. It was hyped. It was pumped. ESPN made it the big show. They did more with Bill Belichick than they did with Deion Sanders in his debut. I mean, by far, it was a standalone Labor Day game. ESPN just went crazy last night for the Belichick show, and it was ugly. And I'm not so sure North Carolina's really good. That's the thing. Like, they had a bad game. Now, this might be a bad deal for Bill. Like, I'm starting to think, if this thing keeps going south, how does Bill Belichick's career end? Really, really something. I think that was a rough Week 1. 46% of the audience on the Nate Brown Show tonight voting for Kalen DeBoer as the roughest Week 1 debut. Not me. Florida State, I understand, may not be great. We're not sure, but I think in the portal transfer era, you just don't know who can be great in Florida. Florida schools might be able to turn it around quick. Florida State was just really, really good 2 years ago. They had one bad year, and maybe they're back a little bit. Plus, it was at Florida State on the road, so I'm not hitting Kalen like really, really hard today. 46% of you vote Kalen DeBoer to lead the way, roughest Week 1 debut. 28% of you say Bill Belichick. 19% Arch Manning. Okay, speaking of high school football, I want to get into something. So I was telling you, Rapid City Central beat Sioux Falls Roosevelt. Congrats to the Cobblers, all you Cobbler fans. Locked in, ready to go. I love it. So Cobblers beat Sioux Falls Roosevelt 23-7 Friday. I was getting text messages on this, even on my phone. It's like, hey, the Cobblers are winning, this and that. I'm like, this is good stuff for a Cobbler program that has really, really struggled. Here's what I've said over the past couple of years. I believe that for really struggling football programs, they should have an opportunity to compete at a lower class and build up their program to start competing in a higher class. So I've said enrollment is a bad factor to determine where teams should be. I mean, I've said that. I don't care which sport it is. Football, soccer, there's a lot of sports. Enrollment is the only factor we use, and it's outdated. If you have a bunch of boys in your school, you should have a good football team. That's what they're telling you, and that's false. So that's why I think we have to add a success factor into this formula for classes. So people could come at me today and say, hey, you've said Rapid City Central should be able to maybe play down at 11 AA. Well, they just beat Sioux Falls Roosevelt. See, you're wrong. Central can compete. You just have to be patient. You got to build and build. hang on a second here. So I am going to tell you one thing is correct in that. The last coach, Brandon Colpitts, I've known Brandon. I've talked to him a lot on the show the last couple of years. He did a lot of work. He built this thing into the team it is today. And it took him a couple of years at least. He wasn't winning games his first year. He wasn't winning games his second year. They finally get over the top and win last year at the end. And then they start building more. They keep the program numbers are up. Okay, they keep the older guys engaged. They're starting to build. So Brandon Colpitts and the coaching staff worked over the last couple of years for this year. Now, Brandon Colpitts steps aside. He has a new full-time job, so he's not able to be the head coach. The coach we're going to talk to tonight, Mike McCulley, is going to come on the show tonight. We'll talk to him this hour. He's now taking over. They get an opening win against Sioux Falls Roosevelt. That doesn't mean that Central's going to go on to 11 AAA playoffs and to the semifinals. I don't know. I mean, we'll see how it plays out. My thought is still this. You've got to be able to let these teams have some sustained success. If they do win some games this year, that would be the first time winning multiple games in forever at Rapid City Central. So you can't say, hey, they won their opening game. They might win a little bit more here. They should see they can compete in AAA. I still don't believe the program is at the levels of these other programs that have had sustained success. The model still points to success factor. How far does Central go this year? Do they make a little bit of, can they win a few games now? Then that all factors in. But it's not just one game, 1 year. You can't look at it for South Dakota high school football classes. This has taken 3 years just to even get where I was told this team now has some nice players. Got the most talent in the program, top to bottom, they've had in years. It took this long to even get it to where it is now. And what I'm telling you is, my guess is they're still not going to win the 11 AAA run here. They're building, and an opportunity to compete with like teams would still allow this program to fully revive. We'll talk to Mike McCulley coming up. Rapid City Central head coach later on. Brandon Stokely's in first. Two-time Super Bowl champion wide receiver, 15-year wide receiver in the NFL. Talking NFL Week 1 with Stokely on the way.
This is the Nate Brown.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one. So you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
Renewal by Andersen Windows and Patio Doors, the customers say it best, and they feel the difference every day.
Very happy with it. Very, very happy. I don't get tired of looking at them. And it's so nice with the breeze now, opening the windows, the ease of sliding the windows back and forth. Notice that it is warmer in the winter time, and it is cooler when the sun is shining in.
Renewal by Andersen Windows and Patio Doors, the customers say it best. Book your free estimate right now at RBARapidCity.com.
What do you call a place? It's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait, there's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps one minute and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside, you don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
Of winning big during their $120,000 Players Paycheck giveaway. Play now to qualify and you could win a prize package every 30 minutes on Friday and Saturday nights. Then there'll be not one, but two grand prize drawings. The first on Saturday, September 27th and the second on Saturday, November 1st, where someone will win a $26,000 Players Paycheck. Only at Cadillac Jack's Gaming Resort. How will your night play out?
The doctors and staff at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center have provided expert bone, joint, and muscle care to patients in the Black Hills area since 1976. Whether you're an elite athlete, a weekend warrior, or just want to continue your active lifestyle, the orthopedic experts at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center will help you stay in the game. Don't let an injury keep you from doing the things you love. Trust the team at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center, specializing in what moves you. Learn more at bhosc.com.
Your sports, your show. From East River to West River, this is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown Show.
Welcome back in. We are live across South Dakota on Fox Sports Radio. Appreciate our affiliates. The Nate Brown Show is on. South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Stream us on Midwest Sports Plus. Stream us on X. Live in studio. Welcome in. At Nate Brown Show on X. One more place, the YouTube channel. You can bring us up there. The Nate Brown Show on YouTube. You've got us. Week 1 of the NFL. It's here. It's here. Brandon Stokely is on tonight. Appreciate his time. We'll try and get Brandon as he can hop on it. Does a great job. 104.3 The Fan, denversports.com. B. Stokely, 1-4, 15-year wide receiver in the league, two-time Super Bowl champ. Broncos open up against the Titans. Brandon, welcome in. How are you?
I'm doing great, Nate. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate your time, as always. So I got to ask you really quick on a college football deal. So we know you caught passes from Peyton Manning, and you're friends with Peyton and the whole thing. Well, Arch Manning's been in the headlines, Brandon. How do you evaluate that situation where all the pressure in the world, the media hyped it like crazy, and then he had an okay game? People say, oh, it was a bad game. It was an okay game, but they only scored 7 points. They lose at Ohio State. How should we evaluate Arch Manning in his first start there, for this season?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm sure he would have liked to play a lot better. You just saw some really off-target passes, and the footwork looked a little erratic, and so. But you got to remember too, you're probably playing in one of the hardest places to play. First game of the year, on the road, a lot of newness on your offense. Offenses usually takes a little while, so. I think now we just wait and see. See if he can get better and improve. He hadn't played a lot of real football the last couple of years, so sometimes it takes some time. You play in these games and these moments, especially in a place like Ohio State. It's tough, and they got a pretty dang good defense over there, so they can make things tough for you. Now you just try to learn from that and move on and get better and improve on the things that you need to work on. So we'll see if he can do that moving forward. I think that's really all. And for a lot of these quarterbacks, I watched a lot of college football, and there wasn't a lot of guys that really looked good offensively. So sometimes it just takes some time, and more reps you get out there, the better off you'll be.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. Nussmeier at LSU, they didn't light up the world or anything. So I'm interested. You're in the media now. You've been a former player, had a long career. Is the media partially to blame on really the hype train for a guy like Arch Manning?
Yeah, I would think so. That's what we do, though. We crown people early in high school and say they're the next one. And obviously when you're a Manning and you see the success that Archie had and then Peyton and Eli had, and then now you have another quarterback following in their footsteps, this is what's going to happen. So that's just part of it. But that's what we do as a sports society, as media. We want to crown people early on and build them up. And then when they don't succeed, of course, people are going to try to tear you down and take shots at you. So, I think the best thing for young quarterbacks, especially or young athletes, is, you got to try to stay off the social media, stay out of the news, just keep grinding, keep working, and because it's not an easy thing to do. Yeah. I mean, you got to just keep working to get better and improve, and don't let yourself fall in the trap of getting too down after one football game or a couple games. It's all about just going out there, working on your mistakes, and trying to fix those things and correcting them as you move throughout the season. You got a long season. A lot of football still left to be played.
What's the buzz on CU down there, Brandon? What's the buzz after they lose to Georgia Tech in the opener?
Yeah, it's disappointing because they got 3 turnovers on the first 3 possessions, and they had some opportunities there, and they scored 1 touchdown, and that was it. But they had opportunities to kind of put a lot of pressure on Georgia Tech and kind of mismanaged the game late, not using any timeouts there. Dion mismanaged that situation. So we'll see. You're trying to find a new quarterback, trying to find playmakers, and a lot of newness. And Georgia Tech's a good football team. So, hopefully they can get things back on track. But, again, anytime that, especially in today's college football with all the transfers, it's hard. It's hard to go out there and play good quality football early in the season. And they had a chance, though. They were right there, and unfortunately just couldn't finish the job.
Brandon Stokely on tonight on South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Find him on 104.3 The Fan. Listen to him in the morning with Evans, denversports.com. So let's go Broncos. Speaking of expectations, Brandon, you've been watching this team for this drought ever since the Super Bowl and now this drought. Is this the highest expectations for a season since the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I would say so. You got a quarterback that everyone feels great about. You got a defense that played really well last year that added some pieces to it, and they should be better than what we saw last year, so they should be great. And offensively, Evan Ingram, you upgraded the tight end position, upgraded the running back position. I think the expectations are sky high here. And again, you got to go out there and get it done. Last year, I think they caught a lot of people off guard with the way that they played, but they're not going to catch anyone slipping this year. So you're going to get everyone's best shot this year. People, they have the book on Bo Nix, and so you kind of can plan for him a little bit better. But I think the Broncos are a better team. Does that mean more wins? I'm not sure about that, but I think they're a better football team and a team that, if that defense is as good as I think it can be, if you get hot at the right time, and getting to the playoffs, and anything can happen.
What are you looking for with Bo Nix? You said people might have the book on him a little bit, which they will. So what are you looking for with Bo Nix? Because we haven't seen anything in the preseason, really. What are you looking for with Bo Sunday?
Yeah, I hope, I think the one thing that young quarterbacks do, especially going from year 1 to year 2, they had a lot of success in year 1. The expectations are so high, so what do? You start playing outside of yourself. Maybe you become too aggressive because you're trying to always hit that home run ball. You're looking at the stats, and you're trying to get 2 or 3 touchdowns. You're forcing the issue maybe a little bit more than you did your rookie year. So I'm hoping he doesn't do that and fall into that trap. I don't think he will. Just continue to play within the system and play good quality football, which I think he's going to do. So I'm not overly concerned about that, but I do think you see some young football players, young quarterbacks that try to do a little bit too much after having success their first year because they want to do better than what they did their first year. And so I think they fall into that trap. I'm not overly concerned with Bo with that. So I think the running game will be better for them. You got a new weapon in Evan Ingram for tight end position. So I think they're in a good situation. They should be able to run the football a lot better than last year, too, and that will help take some of the pressure off of them.
Okay, so that's what I was going to ask you, actually running the ball. They didn't run it well last year. People think, well, they should be able to run it now. J.K. Dobbins, Harvey, the rookie. I don't know if the old line is a run-blocking line. Is that fair?
No, I think that's very fair. And, they stunk at running the football last year. They were terrible. So it can't be worse than last year. I like the two running backs, but we're going to find out. Was it the running backs last year, or is our offensive line here just not very good run-blocking offensive line? I mean, we're going to find out this year for sure, because I know J.K. Dobbins is a really good running back, and R.J. Harvey's got a lot of talent. We don't know a lot about him, but we're going to find out this year what this offensive line, what they're, who they really are, and if they are a good offensive line when it comes to running the football or not.
I'm going to ask you your Broncos prediction. You said, I'm not sure they get as many wins, but they're a better team, you think, overall. They got 10 wins. The schedule was really gettable last year. What do you have this year?
I got them winning 10 again, right there. Same spot, 10, and getting into the playoffs. And so I got them getting double-digit wins again. Obviously, a lot comes down to health. We all know that. They've been very fortunate the last couple of years staying healthy. So fingers crossed when it comes to health. But, yeah, I think they're a double-digit win team. I think they're a good, solid football team, and they're going to be a playoff team again, hopefully.
Okay, so you got playoffs. You got 10. A listener wants to ask you a question. Is this team harder working than the team Russell Wilson came to? Harder working?
Well, I think, they changed the culture here. Right, Sean Payton flipped the roster over and got rid of some of the guys that maybe didn't fit the locker room and fit what he wanted to build here. And I think they have the right group. A lot of guys all pulling in the right direction. A lot of good guys in that locker room. And so I think I don't know about harder working. A lot of guys work hard every year because this is their job, this is their profession. But I think they have the right character guys, and I think they built the right culture in that locker room.
Brandon Stokely on tonight, denversports.com for his show with Evans in the morning, 104.3 The Fan, two-time Super Bowl champ. What's the defense going to do against Cam Ward Sunday? What do you expect?
Well, I expect them to do, try to confuse him a little bit, do different things to try to get in his head and throw him off his game a little bit. I don't think you want to be overly aggressive against young quarterbacks. I think sometimes they struggle more when they have to be patient and go through reads and not just see one-on-one coverage all day where they can just say, okay, I really don't know what's going on defensively, but I know it's one-on-one coverage, man-to-man over there, and I'm just going to throw it up to my best playmaker. Sometimes that's easier for them when you're blitzing a lot of guys and leaving cornerbacks out on an island, and all of a sudden somebody trips or falls, and next thing you know, you give up a 60, 70-yard touchdown. So sometimes it's better to play conservative, make those guys stay in the pocket and try to be patient in the pocket where they have a lot going on in their mind, and sometimes that makes it more difficult on them. So I think Vance is going to change things up, give them different looks, and try to put pressure on them and pick the time when to be aggressive and just when to be conservative.
Broncos, Titans. I've got some Bronco fans from South Dakota already heading to Denver for the opener. Brandon Stokely on tonight. Brandon, always appreciate you. Thanks for hopping in.
Anytime, Nate. Thanks for having me.
Thanks a lot. Brandon Stokely with denversports.com. Morning show with Mike Evans, 104.3 The Fan, live from Denver. Two-time Super Bowl champ wide receiver. Broncos, Colts, Ravens. Great career, 15 years in the NFL. Brandon Stokely. Good to have him. He's on every morning in Denver. All right. He's got the Broncos at 10 wins again. 10 wins again. He said it's going to be tough because the schedule's tougher. But the schedule last year was easy. I'm looking at my Broncos. Last year was easy, but Bo Nix overperformed, especially in the last 8 games. He was really solid. But they did not beat a team they only beat one team with a winning record outside of the Chiefs' gimme at the end. That was the backups. So they beat one team with a winning record last year out of their 10 wins. So I'm cautious here. I'm cautious. Everyone said, yeah, drink the Broncos Kool-Aid. Not yet. I'm cautious. I love the defense. They added Greenlaw, Tafunga. I mean, they added some guys. So Broncos, Titans. That's an interesting one because you got the number 1 pick, Cam Ward, against a solid Broncos defense. NFL Week 1 is here. We'll make all of our NFL predictions, division winners, playoff, Super Bowl on Thursday's show. That's our NFL kickoff. Join us, the Nate Brown Show, live at Tin Lizzie BetMGM Sportsbook, our number 1 sportsbook in South Dakota. To watch the big game, it's Cowboys-Eagles to kick off the season, and this show live Thursday. They're going to have giveaways, great specials, and we'll be live with all of our NFL predictions. Join us in Deadwood, BetMGM Sportsbook, Main Street, Tin Lizzie, the place, Thursday for NFL kickoff. Coming right back with high school, Mike McCulley gets a win in his first game as head coach at Rapid City Central. What does he say about his club's chances this year? They beat Sioux Falls Roosevelt 23-7 in the opener. Head coach of the Cobblers, Mike McCulley, coming up.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest.
Are number 1. Can always be their number 1. Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number 1 hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
Renewal by Anderson Windows and Patio Doors, the customers say it best, and they feel the difference every day.
Very happy with it. Very, very happy. I don't get tired of looking at them. And it's so nice with the breeze now, opening the windows, the ease of sliding the windows back and forth. Notice that it is warmer in the wintertime, and it is cooler when the sun is shining in.
Renewal by Anderson Windows and Patio Doors, the customers say it best. Book your free estimate right now at RBARapidCity.com.
What do you call a place that's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait, there's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps one minute and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside, you don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
You gotta check out these new look campers, people. The new designs are fantastic and so many options for their size.
And so many options for towing. No need for a diesel or a big truck. These only weigh around 1,500 to 2,000 pounds, so they can be towed by almost any rig.
Check out these new 2026 Bontrager and SGC Armor campers, everyone. See AnytimeAnytime.com, and as always at the corner of Highway 79 and East Minnesota.
Anytime Auto Sales.
Hi, this is Dr. Dan Jensen at Physio. We want to be your trusted partner for physical therapy, athlete development, and sports rehab. As the official strength and conditioning partners for Stevens, Central, Douglas, and the Rapid City Rush, our team at Physio is building the best athletes in the Black Hills. If you have an athlete in the family, we offer long-term athlete development at affordable prices for middle and high school students. We also have the only board-certified sports PT in Rapid City. At our brand new facility, Physio is ready to help you perform at your best. One-on-one physical therapy, athlete development, and sports rehab, all at one place. Get started at bhphysio.com.
You're listening to The Nate Brown Show, also streaming right now on X. Follow us and watch the show live at Nate Brown Show.
Welcome back in. Your Sports, Your Show. The Nate Brown Show is on. Busy week. High school, college, NFL. We got you covered on Fox Sports Radio, South Dakota Sports Talk Show across the state. Appreciate you being here. If you missed some of the guests tonight, the Nate Brown Show podcast is always available. You can listen to it on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you get your podcast. Just search The Nate Brown Show, and then you've got everybody. Brandon Stokely moments ago. Great player in the NFL, 15 years. Joined us talking Week 1 and Broncos opener against the Titans Sunday in Denver. Stokely on tonight. Jason Andera talked high school football. He'll do it every week. Recapping the weekend from the prep scene with Andera and John Bryce on tonight talking college football. Hit the Nate Brown Show podcast. We'll put it up after the show tonight. Well, I've been talking about this program a lot tonight. Rapid City Central football. Nice win. Beat Sioux Falls Roosevelt 23-7 in the opener on Friday. Their head coach is Mike McCulley, and he's here on the Nate Brown Show, courtesy of the Pizza Ranch Studio Hotline. Coach, good to have you on. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing good. I appreciate it. So what's it feel like? First win out of the way? Wins are hard to come by. It hasn't been easy at Central, and you get one right out of the gate. What's it feel like?
It feels really good to get that first one out of the way, against the Sioux Falls school. On top of that, kind of just puts the guys at ease a little bit. I wouldn't be lying to you if it doesn't put me at ease a little bit too, just get all the bullets flying and just settle into football. So it was really good to get that first one, and now it's just keep the momentum rolling.
What were you most impressed with about the game? You win 23-7, great defensive effort. What were you impressed with as you coach the game and then as you watch the film here from Friday?
Our defense played lights out. They played phenomenal. They were just flying to the football, pursuing, getting 11 hats there. It was just a frenzy, and they were just building off of each other, celebrating. Everybody was doing their job, not trying to get recognition for themselves, but I can hold this guy up so you can go make a play. It was just a real good team defensive win. I was super proud of them.
What's the culture like, Coach? Because you're coming in, here's how I see it. People have high respect for you, Coach. You've done a good job in the football world. You're coming in new, but the culture has changed, but it's taken a while. So what's the feeling like? How do you match the rise of the program, but add your take here?
Yeah, that's been really interesting, because the culture, like you said, the program was trending in the right way. It was moving. Cole Pitts did a really good job. His staff did a really good job. Something that was huge is that they stayed on. And I could sit down and talk to each and every one of them, and really just putting my flavor on it is a little bit more violent, a little bit more like, hey, let's compete in everything we do. Let's do all this stuff, and no matter what we do, we got to finish in a dominant position in a football game. You got to play echo the whistle. And I've got to just kind of run around and get excited and be a hype guy and do all that stuff. Okay, so you rely on your staff a little bit. Talk about, delegating there. It sounds like you're like, hey, I don't have to maybe do the X's and O's. How do you game plan? Well, so I sit down with the offensive staff, with the O-line coach, running back coach, quarterback coach, and we look at what is it that we're trying to exploit, what are we doing well, what are we not, and then as a team we sit there as a group and we're like, okay, how can we block this against their front? How can we block this when that guy does this? So the X's and O's part I still do. It's just, during the day-to-day at practice, I'm just the coordinator, so I get to bounce around from group to group. So, like, for example, at practice right now, I got DBs doing DB drills. I got my offensive line, defensive line banging each other, getting better one-on-ones. Linebackers, running backs are rolling, and I get to just bounce from group to group and do nothing but just preach the little things. Are our feet in the right spot? Are we listening to coach? Are our eyes up? Are we doing a phenomenal job of effort? What are we doing where we walk? And I get to just tote the standard the whole time. I like it. And then you have to do media interviews as well. That's part of the gig, Coach. You know that. Yeah. Mike McCulley on tonight talking Central football. I wanted to get him on after the opening win, 23-7 over Sioux Falls Roosevelt. Here's what I see. The guys up front seem to be quite a bit better than Central has had in quite a while. That seems like off-season work, weights, strength. Do you notice that, the guys up front? Up front, we did a really good job on Friday. And we got some great leaders that are pushing that. Tucker Jones, Lane Bixby. some of those guys. Jack Wilhelm, who's a junior, he played absolutely out of his mind on Friday. It was fantastic. As far as an individual effort goes, like it wouldn't show up in a stat sheet, but that kid was working his tail off. I'm super proud of him. You know, we got Big Lewis on the other side defensively. I mean, he's 320 pounds. He's a mountain of a man. How do you miss him? So up front, they're doing a really good job. And then, defensively, I mean, we got 7 guys on our defense that should play college football, in my opinion. So anytime you've got something like that, they can kind of make some things happen.
All right. You said it was great to get the win out of the way. What do you think it does for your team's mindset? Roosevelt may not be Sioux Falls Lincoln, but it is Sioux Falls, and it's a Rapid City Central win, 23-7. What does that do for your mindset, the players?
Well, if they're doing it right, hey, guys, look, we've been here. We can do this. We got to finish. And now the next step would be, hey, guys, we got to go back and look at that second half. We moved the ball okay in the second half, but we did not score any points. So we've got to make sure we finish and get some things done as far as that goes. Because against a team like Sioux Falls Lincoln, if you don't score points in the second half, you're not winning. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a great recipe for success, scoring points only in 2 of the 4 quarters.
It sounds like you guys, though, actually have the mindset, and I'm not saying you're not trying to win every game, but it may be starting to enter the players' minds, we can win games, not, well, we happy we got one win.
Yeah, I think to be completely honest with you, I've got a meeting with our leadership committee tomorrow, and I want to talk to them about some stuff that, I thought I felt during the game on Friday and see what their viewpoint is. But yeah, I think, Colpitts and those guys before me did a good job at telling these guys, you can win, you can win, you can win. And now I think they're starting to see the payoff in the weight room and the effort and the stuff they do over the summer. And it's starting to be something that they believe in, and that's a huge step for us.
I'll let you run with this. Get back to the guys. Mike McCulley on, Central head football coach. It's Spearfish this week. This is an interesting team now. They've got some guys. They were very competitive against T-Area, which I think is going to be a pretty good team in AA. This Spearfish game, what do you see?
I think they're going to line up, and they're going to try and smack us right in the mouth. I'm excited for it. Football is a game that was invented by a mean son of a gun, and that's how it's supposed to be played. And, diving into their T-Area game, that's how these guys want it. They want to fly around. They want to hit you right smack in the mouth and see what you're going to do. And we've got to be ready for it. I wouldn't say they're a sleeper team, but, yeah, I mean, they're definitely somebody, if you don't take care of business, they're going to, in a hurry, be putting you in a really bad spot. So yeah. I'm excited about it, and we just got to make sure we're up to the challenge, and I think we are. They do a pretty good job up front on their offensive and defensive line. So I know that our guys are excited for that challenge.
Rapid City Central's 1-0, big win over Roosevelt, 23-7. And now it's Spearfish in a game to watch, a little crossover, AAA and AA matchup, West River. Coach Mike McCulley. Coach, thanks a lot. I appreciate you.
Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate it. Mike McCulley on the Nate Brown Show tonight talking Cobbler football. Wanted to check in with him as he gets the Cobblers off to a 1-0 start. That was one of the headline games. Central beating Sioux Falls Roosevelt. Not a lot of people thought you would see that. I picked it. Remember? I just want everybody to know, Brown's Best, our high school football picks Thursday. I picked Central over Roosevelt. Book it. And now we'll see Central Spearfish, a good one coming up this week. Head coach Mike McCulley on tonight, Rapid City Central football. Coming right back, who's hot and who's not? Well, I hate to say it, I'm putting myself in the who's not. My sports life has declined. Coming up.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
How do you make a buffet day even better? Make it a play day. The Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade is your place for good food and good times. Won the big game? Make it a play day. Aced your test? Make it a play day. Just need to get out of the house? Make it a play day. The Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade has all your favorites and all kinds of fun. So bring your family, bring your friends, bring your team. For good food and good times, make it a buffet day and a play day at the Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade.
Text scams continue to rise, and victims who have lost money to these scams continues to increase. Consumers cannot rely on a text message to be truthful. If you receive a message regarding a fine for missing jury duty, your utilities being shut off for non-payment, toll road fines, or you've won a sweepstakes, these are scams designed with an urgency and the need to send money now. Do not respond to these texts, and you should contact Consumer Protection at 800-300-1986. That's 800-300-1986 for the South Dakota Office of Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division.
I am here with Weston and Tanisha Chapman from Black Hills Tire.
We're the neighborhood shop for the whole town because we will pick up and deliver anywhere in town. We will do whatever we can to help anybody.
It's important to us that somebody can say like, hey, my mom needs something. They need this and I know you'll take care of them. I think that means more to us than anything is when somebody will say like, I need somebody in my family taken care of and I know you guys will take care of them. And that's just because that's community to us.
If we all help each other out, we can create this community together.
Check us out at blackhillstire.com.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Lows level off around 55. Tonight, under partly cloudy skies, winds out of the northwest 5 to 10 miles per hour. Daytime highs approaching 73. Tomorrow, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Lows level off around 51. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy skies. Low 80s, Thursday, upper 60s, Friday. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Currently, it's 82 degrees.
Danny Manholt Rapid Chevrolet buys cars. You heard that right. We don't just sell cars, we buy them too. We make cash offers to purchase local cars, trucks, and SUVs every day. Tired of listing online? Tired of messages? Or just tired of making payments? Whatever the reason, make an appointment at rapidchevrolet.com for a no-obligation appraisal. It's fast and free. When you're ready to sell, we're ready to buy. At Danny Manholt Rapid Chevrolet, Rapid City.
Hi, this is David Brenneman with Coldwell Banker, Black Hills Legacy in Rapid City. Have you thought about buying a home or real estate in the Black Hills? Maybe you want to upgrade to your forever home? I have been helping people in the Black Hills find the right home for nearly 20 years. When it comes to buying or selling, experience matters. Let me do the work, and you can open the door to your new home. Say hello to a good buy with me, David Brenneman. To get started, just Google David Brenneman, Coldwell Banker.
Ready to be part of something big? Meet the Rapid City Sports Commission, the powerhouse behind sports in Rapid City. The commission focuses on bringing regional and national tournaments, supporting homegrown events, and creating opportunities for our kids. But it's not just games, it's a win-win for all of us. Youth sports fuel our economy. Hosting events in Rapid City means out-of-town families shop, dine, and stay with us, which boosts sales tax revenues too. To get in on the action, visit rcsportscommission.com, where we're all about the hustle.
From high school to college to the pros, from Rapid City to Sioux Falls, the Nate Brown Show is South Dakota's sports talk show.
All right, here we are. Who's hot and who's not every night at this time on the Nate Brown Show, brought to you by the Pizza Ranch. Pizza Ranch, your favorite buffet by far in Brandon. Also, East 10th Street, Sioux Falls, and 2 locations in Rapid City. Home of everyone's favorite buffet, your locally owned and operated Pizza Ranch tonight. In our Pizza Ranch, who's hot and who's not, the headlines you maybe haven't heard. One I know you haven't heard, and I'm going to give you a little insight into my sports downgrade life that I used to live. I used to have this great sports life, and now it's downgraded. But first, in my Who's Hot category, she's not cleared yet. She's not cleared for contact yet, but she's back doing drills with her teammates. Back doing stuff with her teammates. Caitlin Clark. Take it easy, everybody. You got to see Caitlin Clark back in action before this season winds down to the WNBA. Am I right? We got to see Caitlin Clark. She's not cleared yet. They're not saying she's going to be back. She is doing drills for the first time since this injury. I mean, it's been quite something. This has been a killer for WNBA fandom and for my Caitlin Clark fandom. So, Caitlin, let's get back before the regular season winds down. It's coming up very soon. In our Pizza Ranch Who's Not category, it's me. In my sports life I used to live. You know what I used to do on Labor Day? I used to go to my buddy's fantasy football draft. It was the biggest draft in all of South Dakota. We had barbecued ribs. We had this. We had that. We drafted live, not on the computers. I mean, this guy did it old school on paper, and we did the board and the big board. I used to do a fantasy football draft that was the best of the best with some great guys, and we'd compete. Now it's gone. I haven't done it for years. And you know who took my spot in a new league? My wife. My wife is doing a fantasy football league, and I've been downgraded to her sending me text messages yesterday. She went to a draft, and she's asking me, who are your top 5 fantasy football picks? I'm getting asked by my wife who to pick in fantasy football while I'm sitting here staring at the wall. Sad. But anyway, I told her, Josh Allen, book it. Let's go. Josh Allen, Justin Jefferson. By the way, who'd she get? A couple of headliners for my wife's new fantasy football team. She's never done it. Joe Burrow and Justin Jefferson. A couple of QB wide receiver. Not bad. Not bad. My sports life, not as good. Thanks for listening to The Nate Brown Show. We're out. Back tomorrow. See ya.
Save big on everything for your next project when you shop at Menards. Be prepared.